So, dear Dharma friends, when we talk to people nowadays, there are a lot of people say they are not religious, but most people spiritual. And is it benefit for you and giving up any kind of religious practice and just become spiritual? And then when we look what is the spirituality, and mostly that people just they say they appreciate love, compassion, generosity, and one of another big word nowadays, empathy. So people like these words, but still, when it comes to our personal life, ourselves, mostly all over the world that we see a lot of people don't get themselves, they don't get benefit out of this practice. Even just you become spiritual, or if you become more religious, sometimes we see and people lose the the inner qualities within themselves. So why this happen like this way? Why we cannot get the right result out of this, and why this religious people or spiritual people cannot get the right benefit out of it, and why people are afraid for this kind of words? When we look at the human history, the one of the the thing that we can see, the most of people come to religions, or even they practice spirituality, even they have the love, compassion, and empathy. This all they have kind of personal agenda. So you can be just a ordinary person. You can be the person who practices spiritual. You can see kind of like a person practice meditation. Even you can be see a kind of like a monk or yogi, or even the high priest, or even whatever. But if you have a personal agenda, then the whatever going to come out of you not going to become successful, because the the spirit itself has no form. So the spirituality means you developing the spirit inside, that whatever exists or whatever that give the existence to you. And the way you maintain your physical material behavior is we call religion. So the spirit, the very being that who you are, the way you maintain it, the way you uplift it, and the journey that you create inside yourself, doing different activities sometimes, and even certain ideas you bring as psychological ideas or cultural ideas, and some to maintain that your very being, and you hold that as spirituality today, and you put a label on it, and sometimes you trying to find the love, you try to express the compassion, that you try to find you try to express the empathy like this. But the thing is this, that maybe you like spirituality, but if you don't know what is spirit, the very step that you take to develop your spirituality can go wrong if you don't know what is the spirit, what is the nature and what is the behavior of the spirit. And if you try to express your love, but if you don't know the very meaning or the very behavior of the love, and sometimes it can hurt you. The compassion the same. If you don't know the very behavior of the compassion, the very nature of the compassion, authenticity of the compassion, the very raw level, the organic level of the behavior of the compassion, if you try to be compassion regarding somebody, maybe you're not going to get the right result. So everything the same. Sometimes we reject religion, and but if you look yourself, do you know really what is religion? To reject it. So if you don't know what is religion itself very clearly, your rejection is invalid. Even the acceptance also invalid. So the becoming spiritual the same. And if you trying to become spiritual, but if you don't know what is spirituality or what is spirit, without knowingly if you try to become spiritual, it itself invalid. So then the love, the compassion, just we try to act like others. We try to, in the surface level, we try to do like what other people do without knowingly. In the surface level, it is good. In conventional life, it is make it more comfortable. But remember yourself, you have to go little bit forward and see what this is. And if you try to reject something, if you try to accept something and start to look what it is, what is that? Maybe nations, generations to generations, sometimes things can reject. Maybe that is very good thing. That as example, do you know like diamonds? The most diamonds in Africa. But in the very first time, the African people didn't know the value of the diamond. They used to play with the diamonds. The children in villages, they used to play with diamonds without knowingly the value of it. The same thing can happen to you also. And what you reject and maybe what you accept without knowingly the value, the both equal to unknown. So then it is your responsibility. Remember, before you reject it something or before you accept something and start to get into it and start to look, be very clear. That is the very first step in the path of the first absorption, the first mental, the high, the becoming, the attaining to the jhana, the becoming attaining to high mental powers, the very best, the first quality. It called that in Pali Savitaka. Savitaka means when something come to you, even when it come to meditation, you become very clear and recognizing what is this and what is the technique and how I do this, and you become very clear with it. You have no doubt regarding that. And then once the thing is this, once you become very clear, there's nothing to accept and nothing to reject. When you know something very clearly, in that clarity, there's nothing to accept, nothing to reject. You just know it, that is it. It gives peace to your mind. So like the judge, see that sometimes I give another analogy. So the people don't like to judge others and say, oh, I don't judge. It's kind of like a very fancy word. Why you don't judge? Because look at the world, everybody judge us. Do something wrong, how many people start to tell things? If that the judging is so bad, why does everybody do that? Even your own mind, secretly, in your dark room, you judging everybody, and you judge yourself, and if you don't like it, you don't accept, you reject it. But why in the society we don't say it, we don't like to say it, oh, I don't like to judge? Why we say like that? Because to judge, you have to be qualified. Especially when we practice with teachers in the monasteries. Every day we have to go to teach, and we have conversation with the teacher. And then sometimes, and when if we do some wrong things, and the beauty of living with the high priest, sometimes the whatever the wrong, that the understanding or the path that we take, if it is go a different way, and they see it, and they tell us, they judge us. So, and sometimes why we afraid to judge, that if other people judge us? Because we also have no confidence ourselves. So that's why we are also afraid ourselves if other people judge us. So then just look yourself two ways. One is you are afraid to judge because you are not qualified to judge. And another thing is, if you are afraid if other people judge you, that's mean you are not complete. Because if you clear, you're not afraid for any judgment. So when you go to the judges, when you go to court, so the judge, see, this is right, this is wrong. He don't take it personal. He don't take it to himself. He's relaxed. He don't get disturbed out of whatever. So then in life, when it comes to meditation, the same thing. If the mind go here and there, you bring back. Even you are in the, listen this very carefully. This is the point, if you get, it's the key point. Even if you are in the present moment observing, you not become happy. If the mind go here and there, you don't get disturbed out of, you bring back it. And if you are in the present moment, you're not going to become happy thinking, oh, now I am happy, okay, now it's good, I can stay. It's not going to. If it is do like that way, when the mind go here and there, you're going to get disturbed. So when it come to something, so remember, that's why we try to reject that. If the mind go here and there, it is not good. And we have idea, we condition our mind thinking if the mind stay in one place, that is good. It is not like that. If the mind go here and there, if you bring back the same thing, the same mental power, the same ability, if you stay in the moment to keep that in the stay moment, you use the same ability. There is no difference. So then remember, the very first thing, that only thing is you have to be very clear. Just know yourself. And when it comes to meditation, that whatever you practice, start to know it very clearly. And once you know that, the very first thing that you're going to have the recognition. So without judging, the recognition not going to happen. But that judging means it is not kind of like that we mention this judgment and kind of like we putting labels on others. It is not like that. You recognize, but you don't take it personal. So when it come to religion, when it come to spirituality, when it come to love, compassion, even the empathy, if you have your personal agenda, your personal view, yourself, and you cannot give it to others without any kind of connection or the attachment. So when you give it with the attachment, or when you give it with the connection, or when you give it with the personal agenda, it is anymore not the religion. It is not, you're not going to become anymore spiritual. Even it is not going to be love. It's not going to be compassion. It's not going to be empathy. When you have a personal agenda, with that personal agenda, if you try to have the compassion towards others, it is anymore not the compassion. So then yourself always look, get out of it. Get out of that mindset, that whatever with the self-centered mind, even don't try to love somebody. You're going to get hurt maybe in the way. So even don't try to be generous with the personal agenda. You're going to get hurt. So becoming generous, giving something is good. But how about if you try to do it with the personal agenda, then later you're going to get hurt. So becoming spiritual the same, becoming religious the same. And today it is a very fancy word. And oh, we are not religious, we are spiritual. But we must have personal agendas. With the personal agenda, you cannot become spiritual. That is the point. Why? Because the very nature of the spirit itself becoming free. And when you become free, that means you make free other people. So becoming free yourself, that doesn't mean other people should be in a cage behalf of your freedom. But we think like that mostly. You think, mostly people think, behalf of your success, other people should be fail. It itself not a success. Behalf of your happiness, other people should suffer. Itself, it is not a happiness. Behalf of your wisdom, other people should be ignorance. It is not any more wisdom. So then, when it comes to becoming spiritual, remember the very basic point is The very nature of the spirit is becoming formless. That in the spirit there is no form. So if you develop the spirituality, the very first quality that you have to develop, come out of the self-centered mind. You cannot, if you become spiritual, you cannot carry self-centered view. Why? In the spirituality, no, there is no that the 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 self that you can mention, this is me, like that. Because when you become spiritual, mean, because the religions come out of the spirituality. The religion is a byproduct of the spirituality. The mostly people don't know the beginning of the spirituality, and they just reject, and you reject the byproduct of the spirituality, and you try to get the main thing. Even you cannot handle that it byproduct, and then you try to get into the main thing without knowingly what it is. At least becoming religious is good. Once a day you do, and once a week you go to church, and once a day you pray, or twice a day you pray, or that thing. It's more comfortable, a little bit relaxed. But remember, becoming spiritual means you completely come out of all the names and forms. You become completely formless. It's kind of like you release all the heat, motion, liquidity, and hardness from your body, and you don't carry any more name, no identity for you. If you exist for a moment like that, you become a good spirit. Why? You synchronize to the spirit. But we think, oh, we are spiritual, but we don't know what is a spirit. So then remember yourself, the very first thing is start to get very clear with what you're doing. And once you know that, always the very first thing come to your mind, that you see things, but you're not going to attach, or you're not going to resist anything. And but you see. So that is the very good place for you to judge things. And around you, people become so lucky if you are kind of that person. Why? Because without getting attachment, without resisting, without fighting with anything, you start to see them. Like the judge. And you don't know who going to be the judge, and you have no any kind of relationship to judge, and then whatever the decision they say, they know what it is, and they say, okay, this is right, this is wrong. And they don't take it personal. They don't take that decision next day to their home. No. So how about, can you see things in around you in day-to-day life? So then the very first thing, the savitakka. So this means, be very clear with what you know. And that knowingly not going to not going to take you and hold you. When you understand that wisdom, release you from that whatever the things. That is the beauty of wisdom. So when you are able to know regarding everything exactly the truth always make you free. So if you don't know the truth, that whatever you like, or whatever around you, whatever the things around you, it can bring the tightness, hold, and it can make you a prison. So then always remember to see the truth without that getting detached, or without getting attached. So that is the art of vipassana. Even regarding your own experience, you see without getting attached or without getting detached. That if you able to develop that quality within yourself in day-to-day life, with anything around you, and you will see there's something that you can experience deeper in you. That tranquility state, that wisdom is different than what you read and get to understand through the book or listening to something. It's totally different. So you need some practice to get into that. So then yourself, little by little, try to get into that. And it's kind of like a come out of a dream. But while you are in a dream, you always get attached, you go always fight with things, and you try to hold it to things or to try to throw away things. But once you get out of the dream, it is completely different. So it's like this. There was a girl, and she was dreaming to becoming a mother and having a child. And every day she had that desire to become a mother, become a mother. So then one day she fall into sleep. In that sleep, she start to see a dream. So in that dream, she had a child. She was so happy with that child. And then within few days, the child died in the same dream. And then she was so unhappy. And then suddenly she wake up. And when she wake up, she knew it was a dream. And that the desire disappeared. So same like when if you wake up from this the dream that you carry, and the most of things will disappear, and even you don't believe that mostly the 90% of your life related to just dreams that will disappear, and that will give the clarity, and that is the day that you're going to see things very clearly. So when you able to see things very clearly and you just see it without any attachment or without any detachment, that is the true experience, that is the true nature of the wisdom. So with that, I bless upon everyone with this good practice. May all of you be well, happy and peaceful. May no harm come to you, may no difficulties come to you, may no problems come to you. May you also have the patience, courage, understanding and determination to meet and overcome inevitable difficulties in your life. During this time period, may everyone stay healthy and safe. And finally, may all of you attain supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sabbityo vajjantu sabbarogo vinasatu mate bhavatvantarayo sukhi dhiga yuko bhava. Ittavata cha ammi sampadam punya sampadam sabbe devanumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Sabbe bhutanumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Sabbe sattanumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Idam me punya kammam asavakkaya vahannotu sabba dukkha pamuncatu. Bless you.